Welcome to the Divas That Care Network. I'm your host, Amy McKenzie. Today's show, The Wow of Women, features the remarkable journeys of women whose powerful and extraordinary choices positively impact people's lives. Today's guest, Elena Ivanovsky, is really special. I'm so excited to have you hear her story and what she has to say about her journey. But let me tell you a little bit about her first. Elena is a former attorney who worked on white-collar crime investigations in one of the biggest law firms in New York. She went on to private consulting after that and experienced some corporate burnout. And as a result, she started looking for methods to recover and heal herself. And she focused on different modalities such as NLP, cognitive field, relaxation response, EFT, and more. And she has worked since with helping corporate high achievers find out who they really are, right? When they realize they're in the wrong career, finally go after their true purpose by overcoming their limiting beliefs, such as, what if I fail, or what might other people say, so that they can actually get on track and begin making a positive impact on humanity. What an incredible mission, Elena. It is just so wonderful. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Thrilled to have you.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you for such a wonderful introduction.
Well, you're up to so much, and that's really what this show is about, is to inspire people to realize we don't have to stay in the circumstances that no longer serve us. And that's really the point of the show, and it's really the point of your life and what you're accomplishing. So, you're just really the ideal guest, and I'm just thrilled for you to take the time. I know you're very busy. You're up to so much. Let's dig in a little bit and find out, more about you. I know you're from the States, and what is your actual profession? How do you label yourself?
So actually, I am originally from Australia. I grew up in Australia, and I traveled to the States. I went to the States when I was in my early 20s to start working at a law firm. So at that time, I was an attorney, and I'm still licensed as an attorney, but I don't practice that anymore. So my profession, how I would title myself, is a coach and consultant for, as you described, corporate high achievers who want to make a meaningful, positive change to their lives.
That's so wonderful. And that was a big jump to make. Congratulations. You've got to be very good at what you do to be able to move from a different country, especially in the States where the competition is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's interesting you mentioned that, because that journey in particular, and I didn't know it at the time, but that taking that leap, as you would call, and actually achieving exactly what I wanted at the time in my early 20s, laid the foundation for my idea later on of practical dreamers. And we can talk about that later. But it's interesting how some of the things sometimes you do unconsciously actually lay the roots for what's to come later on.
That's incredible. And I failed to mention that the topic for your speech here, your talk today, is practical dreamers, which I just love, because you're really kind of uniting left brain, right brain, right? The emotional and the intellectual all together. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I love that.
Thank you. And
so go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, please expound. I think it's such a brilliant concept.
What I was, practical dreamers was, and it's a phrase I got from a book. So I can't take credit for it. It's something that jumped out of a book for me as the idea did. Is just like you said, the two parts of the brain. You have a whole group of people, including myself for a long time, who dream and fantasize about doing something, and usually it's something very specific. They hear a piece of music, something inspires them, and they may not even be aware of it, and they're in that dream world of what they'd love to be doing. They can see themselves doing it. They can, and yet they don't do anything about it or to achieve it. So those are the dreamers. And then you also have the group who are called, let's call them the doers, and they don't have a very clear idea or direction or clear defined goals. It might be just an ambition to get ahead, be advanced, but they don't have a clearly defined goals. And so there's a lot of doing, but there isn't that purpose. And if you remember that quote from Nelson Mandela, I don't remember the exact wording about purpose, but what he was talking about is that when he had a very clear defined purpose and faith that he could achieve it without even knowing how, that 27 years in prison became an asset to him, not a horrible thing to suffer through. And so that in itself, clearly defined purpose, and then action, very specific action, can make you a very empowered, powerful, and impactful individual, and also someone who can be very fulfilled too.
Wow, it's wonderful. And Nelson Mandela is one of my personal heroes, so I love hearing anything quoted by him. What an icon of personal development. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I wanted to, maybe just talk a little bit about what caused you to be passionate about this in the first place.
Okay, great question. My own personal story, my own personal experience, to be honest, to start off with. And I believe sometimes when we do go through things in life, when we have a direct experience with something, we understand it at a level that we can never understand intellectually or just merely consciously. So my own direct experience with this kind of concept was, like we talked about in my early 20s, I wanted to once I graduated from law school in Australia, in Sydney, I wanted to straight away go to New York and work at a big law firm in New York, and then see what to do from there. So my goal was very clearly defined up until that point. This is what I wanted. And I had no plan B in my mind. I had no doubts in my mind that that's what's going to happen. I had plenty of people, including very high-level attorneys in Australia, who were my mentors, who said, you're not going to succeed because New York looks for people who have already had years of experience in other jurisdictions before you even have a foot in the door. For some reason, none of that landed in my, let's call it the subconscious or the deeper levels of the mind where I believed it. I just didn't believe it. The only thing I believed is that it's possible, and that's all I needed. So I took all the actions. So it wasn't just a dream. I took all the actions. I took the bar course. I found the person who helped newly minted attorneys to find work or find placements in New York. I traveled to New York by myself. I stayed with a friend. I took the bar exam. Thought I completely failed for sure because it was ridiculously difficult and unimaginably impossible. So I thought, well, I failed that. I'll never do that again because this is torture. It turns out somehow I passed, but at the time, and then I just went for interviews. I just scheduled as many interviews as I could, anyone who would talk to me, and I just went for interviews, and I got rejection after rejection, and sometimes even before I got to the interviews, they would cancel, and I continued to just persevere. I continued to, I for some reason, I never wavered in that belief that I'm going to get it. And my last interview, I was so prepared by then because of all the experience with other interviews that I had, the so-called failures, right? I felt so prepared and so confident, and I also had nothing to lose. This was the last one I had scheduled, and it was at the best law firm. That's the one that I wanted to work for. And wow! And I got it, and I got the offer, and I got everything and even more in my early 20s. You can imagine the paycheck then and the bonuses of a law firm, etc. And so I did I did something at the time where I was doing unconsciously was exactly what I teach people now, is that there are processes, a lot of them science-backed processes, that you can do, training your mind and doing daily routines that can get you from your idea or that specific dream goal to actually achieving it step by step. And you'll start to receive results as you do these science-backed exercises every day. Will build your confidence, which will build your belief. And once you're in that state of it's going to happen for sure, and you can see it happening for sure, and it's a very trainable state, it's in motion. It is absolutely going to happen. So
I love how simply you put that, by the way.
Thank you.
It's trainable. It's trainable. That's such an important concept for all of us to really grasp. This is trainable. It means it's learnable, right? And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that you intuited your way into this work and demonstrated that it works before you had any of the science to back it up. So talk about the wow of women. That's incredible.
I know. I know. If women pursued their intuition or their passion or that drive that they have, that inner calling more, I'm telling you, there's no stopping us. And it's the same for men. I'm not, but for us, we are often held back. Because you mentioned that that I went for it, and then I found the science to back it up. Because I also have the opposite experience of that early 20s experience later on in life, where I want to do something, but have this burning desire and this dream, when your heart sort of like squeezes and you want to do something, and you can't get anything done about it. You are talking yourself out of it. You're giving yourself all the reasons for why not, or you take these dabbling steps back and forth, and then you don't achieve it, or you get the results the opposite of achievement. And so your brain says, oh, well, see, I told you it wasn't going to happen. So I've had those painful experiences, and they are tremendously painful when you want and desire and dream of something, and you can't do it, and it's something in you. It's nothing to do with external. And that pain, I know it very well, and that is what I'd love. That's what I'm really passionate about, helping people, because I know that you can get out of it and you can achieve what you want, what you really desire and dream of. It's a question of shifting the mind. That's all.
Mm-hmm. And not waffling once you do is something I'm hearing in what you're saying, and thinking of my own experiences with that, or the things that are still present today that, I've kind of shuffled that off to the back burner. And really the truth is because I never really took it on.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such a great kind of a spotlight and maybe an opportunity for all of us to just think here for a moment, what's on your back burner? What's there that you kind of waffled around with and then decided because it didn't happen that you're a failure in that area, and so you never approach it again. And the reality is you just didn't actually give yourself the tools, as we now know, that are scientifically based to accomplish that. So let's move in that direction a little bit, and let's talk about this coaching. It's so interesting that you're dealing with these corporate high achievers who might think very well of themselves. I think it's interesting that they would be very open to this, but I guess whenever we really hit a wall, we're open to anything, aren't we? Maybe that's it.
I agree with you. It depends what level of awareness someone is at. As you said, sometimes it takes somebody to hit a wall, or sometimes it takes a sort of a defining moment in life where someone says, I can't put myself off anymore. And I think right now we're all going through this quite a defining moment in our collective experience in life. Mm. And I think a lot of people are asking, okay, if not now, then when? Because, this experience with the pandemic is really I think helping people question a lot deeper rather than accepting things on autopilot, accepting things as they are. I think people are starting to sort of look at and think about, well, what am I really doing and why?
Mhm. Yeah, it is absolutely a reset moment that puts reflection right in your face. There's no getting around it right now.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable,
Absolutely.
which is wonderful if we use it. So now let's say somebody wanted to work with you directly. Is that something that can be done virtually? How do they find you?
Absolutely. They can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on the website, and I'll put all my details there. And what I do is typically we schedule a call, and I do a free coaching session for somebody just so that I can understand at a deeper level what it is that they really, truly want, that sort of ideal goal and that vision, what's holding them back, what are the beliefs that might be holding them back, and how I can help to move them forward, or to give them a sort of a blueprint right there and then of what it is that they may need to move forward. If at that point,
so here's a question for you. Oh, sorry,
yes,
go ahead.
No,
Didn't
go ahead.
interrupt. No, I was just going to say, do you ever have an occasion where someone thinks they do know, and you still, and they think they're on track, but you're able to uncover something that actually would stop them if they hadn't addressed it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, all the time. And that's basically the crux, and thank you for the question. That's the crux of my work, because I often deal with people who, and believe me, I'm often in the same category. We go after the symptoms a lot. We go after, and I think that's why there's this the shiny object syndrome, especially in the online online world. Yeah,
right.
And I was a victim of it for a while as well. Feeling like an ATM machine for the perfect course, for the perfect PDF, for the perfect webinar that's going to fix this, and this. And once I know how to do that, once I know how to do my online course, once I know how to write that perfect copy, I'm gonna be great. So I do those courses, I'll do those things, and I'll still not put out. I'll still not take action. And I know what it is, because it's a root cause. It's a root cause that you have to uncover what it is underneath it all that's really holding you back. And it's usually at the deeper levels of the mind, where something was programmed when you were younger, typically, because as has been proven by many studies, we unconscious processes, the ones that drive 90% of our lives sort of on autopilot, are programmed from age 0 to 7. There's some debate between 0 to 10, 0 to 7, 0 to 5, but it's in that early range. And it can still continue to get programmed later on in life, especially when there are sort of highly emotional moments that happen in our lives that goes directly into your unconscious processes. With that is that it is like a programming, and it just basically runs your life, runs your behavior, runs your actions. And if you act and behave in a certain way, you're going to get certain kind of results. So if you want to change your results, if you want to achieve something more, if you want to clarify what it is you want to achieve, what it is you want to achieve, those are the levels, those are the root causes you have to go to. That's what you have to really look at. It takes some courage, a lot of awareness, good guidance if you have it, to uncover them, to understand what's really going on in that programming and how it's not serving you. And then you have the tools to change it. But you see, you can't change it until you know what's really is not working for you in the first place. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes me think of, until we really get honest on the court with ourselves about the impact that our inaction has on us, we really can't even begin to think of something creating newly as a possibility in our lives.
That's right.
Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's absolutely correct. And I'll give you an example, a concrete example. And again, this is from the neuroscience field that originally came from NLP type of field that looks at subconscious processes. So neuroscience picked some of that up now in their measurements and their studies. Take a person, let's say, again, a proverbial corporate high achiever who is working 14 or to 18 hours a day and wants to do completely something else, like produce film. And because he or she have fantastic ideas for scripts and they're very good at organizing and they just want to get into production, they have a knack for it, they get it. Maybe they did something in college years or early years where they were successful, then got into the practical, raw things, mother, father, ambition, whatever. Their current result is that they're not doing anything about film because they're working 14, 18-hour days. And that's the result in their life. So they're looking at this reality and their thinking is, look at this, of course I can't do anything about film. That's your thinking. That's what's going on in your head. What happens is then you feel terrible about this. You feel lack of confidence. You feel, you don't feel good about this because you're killing that part of yourself off. And so that feeling translates into what action? Doing nothing about it. And doing nothing about it, your reticular activating system picks that up and says, evidence for not doing anything about film, it's impossible. Thank you very much. Go back to law or go back to whatever you're doing.
Right. Or back to sleep.
So that's the unconscious process, and that's the one that I lived through as well, for sure. But now there is a mechanism, because we are conscious human beings and we have this wonderful technology with our minds that most of us unfortunately don't use, is you see your result, and rather than reacting to it, which is that thinking that I told you about, that feeling that I told you about, and that RAS that proves the results to you, you look at the result, you say, I can't do anything about film, I'm not doing anything about it, I want to. How can I change my thinking about it? And you start consciously practicing through all these tools that we teach, and it takes practice, obviously, thinking about, I actually want to do something about it. It is possible, and you can start to visualize yourself doing something about it. And in those moments of those practices, of those exercises, of that training or retraining of those neural pathways, you can start to feel inspired and good and start to sort of feel energized and feel like it's possible. And then that
which
feeling
shows you new actions to take, I imagine.
Exactly.
In those moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Wow.
And if it's rewarded,
people would be very well. I think everyone needs to talk to you. Sorry to speak over you, but really.
Before you know it, you'll be taking actions, even if they're small at first, towards doing something about that film, which is, okay, now maybe I sit down and just write down the headings for the ideas that I had about films or productions and think about the people I could pull together. And before you know it, your RAS, which is a reticular activating system, because you're focusing on it, will start pulling evidence from the whole surroundings of everybody and everything around you of who can help you, how it can help you, how it's possible, because that's what our brains do. They're perfectly designed to bring you evidence of what you're focusing on. So it's that.
Wow.
It's that simple, and yet it's not easy to do because you actually have to be uncomfortable for a while where you start to be a conscious human being and
sure.
change that. So,
well, I can't believe we're out of time. I'm going to have you come back, Elena. I mean, and I'm going to say right now,
sorry for taking up
anybody.
The time. I'm so sorry for just
no,
going
it's
on
wonderful. You know, I just want to say, please look up Elena's work and connect with her. I'm going to take you up on your free coaching. I think it sounds terrific.
Wonderful.
And
I'm delighted.
Yes, I'm so inspired. So in closing, I want to thank Elena Ivanovsky, what a remarkable guest, all of our listeners, and our producer, the founder of Divas That Care Network. In honor of how far women have come, Candace redefines the word diva to mean a courageously self-assured woman. The Divas That Care Network is a community of like-minded people, one that offers women of all walks a platform for sharing their voice in the world. We invite you to join us. Please visit divasthatcare.com to hear more inspiring stories and add your voice to the conversation. Signing off and wishing you a beautiful day.